everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Rich Ad, Poor Ad podcast. We have Mr. Zach Johnson on the line, as well as myself, Dylan. And today we have a special guest. We got Zach Horvath, and we're going to call him Zoom on this little podcast.
Zoom.
He is the founder of Live a Great Story. They're all over Austin, Texas. Their stickers are global. Their flags are global. It's just a really badass global business with a huge impact on the local community. You know, they probably spend roughly six figures on ads on Facebook and Instagram, but they kill it on the social contents there. So, Mr. Horvath, Zoom, thanks for coming on, man. We're pumped to have you.
Yeah, stoked to be here, Dylan. Always down to come hang out and talk about ads.
Heck yeah, that's where the magic happens. So kind of give everybody a little update on kind of what you're doing, just so everybody kind of has some context. As mentioned, Live a Great Story. Y'all have definitely seen these stickers, but go ahead and give them the quick elevator pitch there so everybody kind of knows who you are.
Yeah, totally. So Live a Great Story is a lifestyle brand, really simple message with a huge impact that started about 6 or 7 years ago when I got back from traveling and just kind of vagabonding around and came up with this phrase, and I ended up spray painting it on a wall here in Austin, Texas. People started taking pictures of it and started spreading through social media. And just the stories that came back from it are really inspiring. Pretty much people from all walks of life using this phrase to live their life to the fullest and really be the hero of their story. And so mainly spread through social media, and then that ends up spreading from person to person through people, you know, taking photos of the stickers or the flag or the shirts out in really cool places. And so definitely have a pretty robust ad background from that, and then really also into the like kind of real world marketing side of it. So it's been pretty cool. There's even people who have tattoos, which is one of the craziest parts.
Oh no. Oh, that's crazy.
How many tattoos are out there right now?
Over 25 for sure.
Whoa. But what's the main product? What's the main product that you sell on your Facebook ads? Are you just straight selling stickers?
So yeah, actually stickers I would say are kind of the backbone products, but they come in sticker packs. So one of the things about stickers is that they're super cheap and not great, margins if you're selling one or two, but our sticker pack has 16 stickers in it. 6 are 4-inch stickers, and then 10 are the 2-inch stickers. And so that's like one of our main ones. The Live a Great Story flag that Dylan rocks behind him in most of these is another one. That's another like higher price item. So I'd say that's one of the better, ad running sticker products. And then, but really a lot of them. And one of the cool parts is just trying to find what the best product is with the best margins and the best, overall price point so that we can run ads as either, as a loss leader or, at least a break even to get people into the brand and then kind of upsell them along the way.
Heck yeah. Oh, man. And I remember we were looking at your return customer rate sitting in that 35% range. So, I mean, people come back for all these goods. So I'd imagine that LTV is pretty juicy.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the coolest parts. I mean, our, email marketing is awesome. And then even branching into text messages recently is just people love the message. And as soon as you put a shirt on or a hat or, a sticker somewhere, people comment on it all the time. And so a lot of people get a taste of that message and, they're going on a hike and they, are rocking the shirt on the trail and everybody's talking about it, pointing at it, commenting on it. And so it just creates this kind of, viral effect of them spreading that message to other people and then them kind of reinforcing it in themselves. So it's like, here's a new shirt, or here's a new colored flag, or, here's leather, like wallets, things like that. People are just like keep coming back and want more and more of it, which is pretty awesome.
Hell yeah. It makes it nice when your audience is shoot 20 plus to 65 plus. Like, shoot.
Dylan, have you ever bought stickers online? I've never bought a single sticker online.
I don't think they usually come in all the products I buy randomly, and I got a fridge full of stickers, but I don't think I bought a sticker pack online, to be honest.
Yeah, this will be interesting, man. I want to know what it takes to sell some stickers.
Well, awesome. Unfortunately, this rich ad is all flag related. So let's go ahead and take a little segment into this rich ad. So beautiful image, got the flag blowing in the breeze, got the beautiful Air Asia flying above us. But hey, take my picture while I stare at nature holding this awesome flag. You on your next trip. Oh, when's the next adventure? Don't forget this flag. So seems like one of your, killer items, 650,000 views, a ton of comments, likes, and shares. So, I mean, this is a killer ad right here, Zach. So go ahead and tell us the whole story behind it.
Yeah, so the cool part about this is that people send us photos like this from everywhere, right? So this happens to be somewhere in Asia at one of those low landing airports on the beach. But this is actually part of a slideshow. So I took about 5, 8, I can't remember how many of these like equally cool photos, and just in native in the app, just uploaded them into the Facebook slideshow and put it at 0.5 seconds. So when you see this, it's pretty catchy, really fast. So by the time that you scroll on it, you've already seen maybe 1 to 3 photos of really epic photos from, mountaintops or, just different places. I think we have Zion on there. We have somewhere, another one in Utah. We have that photo. Definitely like some mountaintops, Angels Landing, really, really cool photos. And so it also has a call to action of, it like kind of puts that, I think that title kind of like with the quotes, makes people think a little bit. So it makes them read all the way through, and then it puts the viewer in the shot, right? Like it actually enrolls them in this idea. They're like, I want this shot at my next trip. And so I think it kind of accomplishes a lot of interesting angles here, where it's catchy, it's fast, it's definitely attractive to the adventure, the traveler, kind of our demographic, people that are doing cool things, and really just sets them up for a good experience, even once they click onto the website, because then there's that cohesiveness between all those photos from the ad being on the actual product page too.
And it probably helps a ton having a girl in a bikini on that first thumbnail.
Oh yeah.
I mean, hey, that's thumb stopping right there. That's the magic of it all. So this has a ton of views. How much do you think you kind of put behind this ad? 4 figures, 5 figures?
Definitely 4 figures. Probably even into 5 figures. I was just looking at it when I sent it over, and I realized that we don't run this one. And I was thinking about it probably because right now is the middle of COVID, so no one's traveling. So we sell a lot of travel gear. We have like passport covers and luggage tags and some different things that are more travel focused. But I think I kind of paused this just for being not tone deaf when everybody's sitting at home wanting to travel. But yeah, definitely. I mean, this is for sure a staple ad and has been running for really heavily last year. I think, we're selling, I don't know, maybe 500 flags a month or something off of this. So, pretty intense there. So definitely 5 figures, I would say.
Ooh. And what kind of return was it sitting on? 2x, 3x, 25x?
I would say most. So another, one thing that I've learned through ads is that there's the ad, which is a big part of it, but there's also the product and the backside of it, right? So it's like you can have a great ad, but have a bad landing page or, a bad website or, a product page, all that stuff, or even a badly priced item. So this flag used to be $20 and I actually upped it to $25. Because I was like, this is worth it, and that's kind of the stance I've taken is I would rather sell a slightly higher priced product, and, get that margin on it versus not. And so, I think that obviously helps. And I would say I'm sitting at like a 2 point something, like maybe a 2.4 to 2.8 on this one, because I'm paying somewhere between, I think, $12 and $15 to get that sale for a $25 product. And then also there's a one click upsell on it. So then I like sell them on a sticker pack or some buttons, which obviously bumps up that AOV.
Oh man, Zach loves those one click upsells. Well, snap. That's quite a rich ad with a ton of social engagement. Let's go ahead and navigate to the dark waters and check out this very, very shitty poor ad, y'all. All right. So, Zach, I just sent this over to you on Messenger. Go ahead and take a peek at it now. Let's hear that initial reaction. We're all big fans of Money in the Bank, but this is a very different kind of money, I'd say. So immediate
thought.
My
gosh, I can't believe that. That's crazy.
And it's an actual ad. This was in fact running.
That's insane. That's like encouraging people to break the law.
Where our counterfeit bills can be used. Oh, they're selling counterfeit.
Hey, they have at least options so you know where you can use these, at the end of the day. But just so everybody has some context, it's a counterfeit dollar bill company. And hey, you can use these at McDonald's, attraction parks, really anywhere. But our bills bypass everything, counterfeit pins, and don't forget machines. So
they
yeah,
can be used in the bank.
Yeah, it's 100% safe there. This is a very shitty ad here, y'all.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. This is mind blowing right now. I can't believe how are these people not in jail?
How did that even pass? Like Facebook?
There had to have been some black hat stuff. I don't know. This is just cloaking. Who knows? But yeah,
and they were targeting you, Dylan. Right? That's right.
I get hit by really weird ads, man, and sometimes I convert. So I mean, hey, their placement wasn't too bad.
You guys are literally
selling drone.
Yeah, man. Yeah, drones have costed me nothing. No.
Document store. I love the double M. What's up with that? Documents.
Well, their other burn page that got banned only had one M, I would say. Yeah. So,
our bills notes bypass everything. Counterfeit pens and machines can be used in bank.
Hey, but you got to admit they do have the best holograms and duplicating machines. So, so they say.
That is mind blowing, man.
Oh, what a trash ad! Hey,
what a trash! I love it. Well, let's jump over to this financial principles aspect. Zach, you have been you've got quite a bit of experience with a lot of the different alternative growth capital providers and lenders out there in the marketplace, from Shopify Capital to PayPal Loan Builder to Clearbank, and you're also a master of credit card travel points, which does not surprise me given your brand and expertise in travel. So what advice do you have, for other e-commerce businesses that are thinking about taking out some debt to scale up? What would you encourage them to do? What would you caution them to do now that you're on the other side of it and you've been working with a couple of these lenders for a few months now?
Yeah, I would definitely suggest really getting your finances dialed in. So much of it is knowing, that's for sure a basic principle of business, and knowing, even your ROAS and being able to calculate all of that and your, return. I saw the funny, TikTok the other day. He was like, I made 30 grand drop shipping this month. He's like, but how much profit? He's like, but I made 30 grand drop shipping. So, definitely if you're going to run a business, you got to have that dialed in. But what's really cool that I found really last year as I started scaling up pretty significantly was how much people want to give you money when you're doing numbers. And so I've definitely taken out a couple of rounds of funding and kind of scaled up the offering, I guess, for what starting with Shopify and I think also PayPal. But I think on my Shopify, I ended up taking out altogether over the 3 loans about $77,000 because I started branching out into more options last year. So I hosted a conference. I was bringing on team members and didn't quite have the revenue generation to scale the team. And so I looked at kind of my options, and it's really cool to have that, basically with a push of a button, they'll just deposit serious, 5 figures in your account. and with not too much interest. But I definitely realized, kind of in hindsight, the difference of the interest. So I ended up paying about twice as much for my PayPal loan as the Shopify one. So that's for sure something to be aware of. And then also, thinking about your margins, right? You're paying, but the way that those work is that they skim off the top of your sales of your revenue. So they give you that money, and then up front, and then every month, or every purchase that gets that goes through the processor, they skim off 5, 10, 20%, I guess even up to 30% is an option. And so really, when you're thinking about, most businesses don't have a margin that high, especially once you're spending ads and really scaling. So that can be a pretty serious situation to get into if you're not totally dialed in on your numbers, knowing exactly what your profit margin is and your runway and how much you can afford to pay back on a daily basis, because it can actually like reverse and get you underwater pretty quickly if you're paying so, and then you're running ads on top of it, so you're spending money there and you're not profiting enough to both pay back that loan and then also pay for your cost of goods sold and everything else.
Now, what kind of revenue do you think you would recommend somebody to entertain this, right? Like the whole idea is use debt to grow your business faster. And where do you think the business is like mature enough to be smart about debt versus stupid?
Yeah. I'd say you either, one of the things, so I own Live a Great Story all by myself. So I don't have any partners. I don't have any, co-owners or investors or anything. So I make decisions all on my own, really. I mean, obviously I have friends and, people I run a lot of stuff by, but for this, I got bit because I kind of just made some impulse decisions and needed cash flow pretty fast. So, going through that, I guess for the maturity standpoint, it helps to have, multiple shareholders invested in the finances so that you have those, checks and balances to balance out what you're doing. I also think that what's good about these systems is that more or less they don't give you enough. They don't give you too much to where you get in trouble. I said I took out, I think, a $7,000 loan from Shopify. Then I took out, I think, a 15 to 18. And then the last one I took out was like a $45,000, right? So I paid the first ones off really quickly, and I was like doing really good numbers. And then I was like, well, they're going to give me this big chunk. Like I might as well take it and go for it. And that would have been probably all fine and dandy, except for some of the other surrounding circumstances that kind of resulted in this. So from a maturity standpoint, I definitely think, be a savvy business owner. Like if you're, one of these 19-year-old kids on YouTube, trying to drop ship stuff, probably not the best idea, because it can definitely cut you really hard and then put you in a serious situation. But practice savvy business, awareness. Like what are your books telling you? What's your CPA, or, I have a fractional CFO who helps with a lot of this stuff. So we can run numbers and do analysis. But even to get to that point, I've been in business for years to even understand how all this works. So it's kind of a tricky one, but definitely not for newbies or amateurs.
And what do you, let's talk about rate and pricing for a second. Like, what do you see as, there's a lot of fixed fee products out there. There's a lot of APR, interest, revolving interest. What would you say, hey, here's kind of like a good rate, and here's kind of like a stay away from this rate kind of thing?
So my Shopify takes 10% of my revenue, which is pretty good, right? And I think that it costs me about 15% interest on the loan amount. I'm not totally sure off those numbers off the top of my head right now, but which is decent, like it's a pretty significant number, but also it's hands off. I'm not trying to balance stuff and like sending checks to the, small business loan, like people SBA loans, and like trying to, figure out how to pay back investors and things like that. So it makes it a lot more simple. But then, like I said, that was on Shopify, but the PayPal one was almost double that. So I think I paid up to like 20% interest on my initial, chunk. And then also to pay that back, I'm paying 20%. So I'm balancing basically a 15% margin that I'm paying back to pay off those loans on a daily basis, which is crazy because, that's, let's say I do $100,000, that's 15 grand off the top that I'm just writing a check to PayPal or Shopify, which is pretty crazy to think about because it's a serious chunk of money at that point where, I'm trying to get out of that. And once I pay that off, that's all profit, which is a cool, finish line to look at, is that as I'm scaling, I know that my balance sheet, I'm just constantly writing these checks back to PayPal and Shopify. Right. But soon enough, I'll be writing checks in my pocket. Right. So, I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit, I don't have the exact numbers on how much I ended up paying, but like I said, it's probably off that, principal, I guess. It was about somewhere between a 10 and 20% interest to, acquire that. And then on a daily basis is taking out kind of about the same chunk to pay it back.
Yeah. And how long were those, loans out for? Do you know how long PayPal, the term that you took, goes out for?
Well, I mean, it takes a certain chunk, right, until you pay it back. So they have for PayPal, it's a 90-day minimum. So you have to pay 90 days minimum. I think it's like $3,000 to $4,000 every 90 days. So, if you could take years to pay it back, if you had to. And then with Shopify, what ended up happening is the way that, I still haven't quite figured this out yet, because I both have a Shopify checkout, Shop Pay, and then also PayPal. It diverts people to different checkouts kind of randomly. I really don't understand how it does that. And so it ends up diverting way more people to PayPal versus Shopify. And so I'm actually not meeting my minimum spend for Shopify's loan, or like whatever the repayment is. And so they debit that from my account once a month, at least that minimum chunk, on top of the other 10% that I'm paying off. So it really, there's not a time period on it. Like they just want their money back. But obviously, if you stop paying it, then it gets into some kind of serious, I got emails like, hey, we got to talk about this, where's our money type loan shark deals.
Yeah, it's some good experience, man. I appreciate you being so transparent about your lessons around dealing with these different partners that you've taken money from. What did you use the money on, if you don't mind me asking? Like, did it actually help you grow? Was it more just to support cash flow and a burn rate? Well,
good questions. Yeah. No, I mean, so I last year was doing really good revenue and scaling pretty high numbers. So I got up to almost about 6 figures a month in revenue for a couple months straight. And so I was like basically just like scaling. And at that point, I was doing all of it and wanting to grow more of a brand. So I wanted to bring on, content creators. So I was like, I need, at that point you exhaust your ads and content in general. So I was like, I need to be making more content to make more ads to sell more stuff. Right. And so that mixed with just kind of also like different team members, was another part. And then the biggest thing that bit me was influencer marketing. I ended up paying out a serious chunk of that for about a 3-month test on influencers, which was a total absolute 100% waste of money. I just bankrolled some people's like lifestyle for about 3 months. It was absolutely ridiculous. If anybody wants to talk to me about influencers, I'll shoot down your influencer aspirations for days. Because I was like, dude, these photos, like I'm savvy with the camera. You know, I've traveled a bunch. I've shot all these photos and things. And so I could have flown halfway around the world multiple times over to shoot the exact same content that these guys shot, you know, and not paid for it. So that was part of what ended up happening. Also, a good chunk of it went to cost, to product, right? So I was doing these pretty serious numbers, and I knew I was kind of forecasting, okay, well, I had a crazy Q2, Q3, and like Q4 is obviously going to be even bigger than that because it's the holiday season. It's the biggest one of the year. I got to stock up on stuff. And so I stocked up, I was doing marketing, I was scaling up, and like basically hit a point where everything just flipped and, you know, inverse happened. And I was just like not selling anything with so much inventory and paying people. And so all of it just kind of flipped in November, you know, late October to November, and like to shit the fan. And it just went all like negative. So wrapping up 2019 was like a pretty sad time. And still, you know, am trying to crawl out of that. I still have all these loans, and, you know, now even obviously COVID got trigger shy about running ads. And like, you know, once you're spending, you know, I was spending definitely 5 figures on ads, probably 15,000 a month at some point. It's like, how do you go back to that when you have such a big red number? You know, it's like, I don't know if this is going to work again. So it was like wrapping up last year. I mean, I definitely learned a lot of really hard business lessons in the end of 2019.
Yeah, man, that's the dark side, the ugly side of leveraging debt, right? Is leveraging at a time, you know, when, you know, things just, you know, take a turn, right? And you're supposed to be investing that debt into growth. So what did you do, man? Like, how have you been doing the last couple months? Like, how did you go about scrambling?
Yeah, I mean, definitely for a while I pushed pause, you know, like I got to the point where, you know, I was talking with my CFO, and she was like, you like the way that you're spending on acquiring new customers, for every dollar you're spending, you're losing like X amount of dollars. So I was like running these ads, and you know, with the repayment and everything, and, you know, the other costs of the business, just, you know, regular, you know, G&A costs just to run, I was going further into the hole. And so I was like, well, that's obviously not going to work. I got to figure something out. So I kind of pushed pause for a bit, you know, was just, you know, selling less, but even, you know, slowly inching forward versus like going backwards. And so what ended up happening is I, you know, obviously through COVID was like still just trying to crunch stuff and figure out how to do things, and eventually realized that a lot of, because I still do all direct to garment, so like print on demand for all my apparel. So it's not great margins on my shirts, but all of my accessories have really great margins. And so I'm like, okay, well, how can I sell more accessories and less apparel and get that AOV up through accessories, because those are, you know, 80-90% margins on that. And so started basically toying around with different options there, and finding kind of that sweet spot of, okay, cool, I can sell these like I mean, I can give some examples, but long story short, I started realizing that these are the products. If I can sell these, it's getting rid of inventory that I have stored in a warehouse. I'm like selling through inventory. I'm having great margins on them. These are our best selling products. How can I push these first versus pushing apparel, which are lower margin items? And so, yeah, I mean, still, you know, really not paying myself do Live a Great Story, because I'm just trying to do as much as I can to get out of this debt that I owed to PayPal and Shopify, but like literally writing them like $5,000 to $7,000 checks every month, like clawing my way out so that I can get back to, a profitable business. And then, now I'm okay, cool. Well, like my CFO, we're like, okay, this works now. Like you've corrected this equation so that you're actually profitable and making money. And so now it's like, how do you take that next step? And so that's still solving that problem.
Yeah. I think I've heard this a couple different times on this podcast is really, business owners, entrepreneurs relying on their CFOs to really help them understand the profitability of their advertising, right? It was just a few years ago that like the agency, right, was enough, right? It was just like, hey, here's what's going on, like on your Facebook ads. Here's what's going on analytics and scaling, and it's really good to see more CFOs at the marketing table and CFOs starting to wrap their brain around the world of advertising. I don't think that I think that as an industry, like CFOs are getting more educated, which is great and helpful. Especially in your situation, right? They totally pointed you towards a North Star of profitability.
Yeah, it was crazy when she was like, yeah, okay, so let's plug in all your numbers and like look at how you used to sell stuff. And then it's like, okay, well, here's, I'm like, can I just sell my way out of this? And she's like, no. Like if you try to, if you pour back in the money that you've been doing the way you've been doing it, you're just going to keep digging yourself in a hole. And that was like a come to Jesus moment. I'm like, oh man, like I fucked up.
Yeah. Ooh, I love it, man. I don't love your story. I just love how, you're keeping it real and sharing a lot of insight with people on, just all the intricacies that go into, leveraging debt. I think, there is a positive side here in the sense that when you did take those out, like when shit was hitting the fan, like I'm sure that that debt was helpful from a cash flow standpoint, like kept you afloat for a little bit longer. And it went from growth capital to, burn rate capital, pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was just really easy. I mean, I still own 100%, so thinking about kind of what's next and if I, I'm getting through this. So if I get through this and turn this around and this ship becomes like, I've learned from my mistakes. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I messed up, but like if I didn't mess up or I did the same things without the mistakes that I made, then I'm sitting on a really amazing business. And so now, there's been a couple times, especially in those, like in the depths of all that, where I started like, oh, well, I need money from people like ASAP because this is really a negative situation. But then you're going to these conversations with, all these red numbers and, the sharks are just like, yeah, sure. We'll take, X amount of percentage of your business for like pennies on the dollar because, your hands are tied. And so definitely now, like, looking at it, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, we're going to be profitable with like a pretty decent margin and a really great brand and great numbers and great return customers and all these like really great, balance sheets and everything else, P&Ls. Well, shoot, now I'm like, the tables are turned. It's like, I'm not asking for people to help me out. I'm like, you want to get on board or not? Because this is, this is a rocket ship at this point. Cause it's like we went through the trenches.
Oh, that's awesome. Zach, you've been an amazing guest on the show. Thank you so much for keeping it real and sharing all this awesome insights. Tell everybody, like how you can how they can support you, what you're looking to do next, how they can get in touch. We've got an audience here of advertisers, brands, investors. You're looking to raise money, like on the equity side, on the debt side, like throw it all out there. How can people support you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. If this all is interesting to you, I'd love to chat about it with anybody. Good stuff. For sure, grab some stickers from the site. Like, Live a Great Story is a magic phrase. Like, if you put a button on your shirt, you wear a Live a Great Story hat, you take a flag on your next trip, like it's magic, and people will ask about it and comment, and you'll have some really cool conversations. So there's a reason that people have it tattooed. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking for, e-commerce partners. I think I'm more on the kind of vision and high side, like high flying overview, but I'm kind of at a point where there's definitely some on the ground, like operations things. I'm very much looking forward to bringing everything in-house and building like an all-inclusive business. So getting away from print on demand and like outsourcing my fulfillment to, all in-house, and in that process expanding to wholesale, because it's a big area of opportunity that with the right kind of infrastructure can scale super seriously, because people that find this in stores like absolutely love it. So that's kind of like the next chapter, probably going into 2021. And then a big part of this also that we haven't really touched on is just like Live a Great Story. There's a million Live a Great Story stickers out in the world. And so kind of realizing the opportunity for stickers, and so many brands and businesses mess up their sticker marketing. So I started really the first and only sticker marketing agency that helps brands use stickers to build a community of raving fans. So I launched, it's called Sticky Marketing, and basically help people understand how to leverage, basically these 10 to 25 cent stickers for building customer relationships, bringing people down in the funnel, LTV. I mean, all of the marketing stuff can be accomplished through strategic sticker marketing, and literally nobody talks about it. It doesn't exist. Like, people use stickers, or they make stickers, but no one really uses stickers the right way. So that's definitely something that if you're running, an e-com brand, you have a brick and mortar store, or even you're trying to build some sort of digital audience, maybe you're like an infopreneur with a course or something, you need stickers in your business. And that's something that I would love to talk to anybody about.
Oh, nice, man. That's super cool. Very cool. Awesome. Well, there you have it. Thank you so much, Zach. Appreciate it.
It was awesome, Zach and Dylan. Appreciate it. Y'all are rad.
Hell yeah. Thanks for coming on, man. Have a good one.